scenario. When you're feeling stuck, it's also important to think positively and to take it easy on yourself. The pessimistic beliefs can be a trader's worst enemy. Many times one may think, I can't be wrong on this trade. I know. There's no way I could be wrong. Or I must capitalize and get every dime on every opportunity. I got to make 100%. I can never lose. Or even worse, I've got to make a ton of money to get caught up and go ahead. These expectations are way too high. They can cause uneasiness. When you hold such high expectations for your performance, you place too much pressure on yourself, and you can't maintain this carefree attitude that we're talking about. It's better to trade in a relaxed and carefree manner. It may be difficult to completely view a trade as a leisurely activity. I mean, unless you're so wealthy, it doesn't really matter. But to be carefree means to allow yourself to relax and let everything that you've worked on and you know and you've practiced to just come through. You have to believe what you see and see what you believe and act on what you know and act on what you believe. But there's a lot that you can do to make it fun. You can limit risk so that you know that you can handle the worst case scenario. When you know that you can't possibly lose too much, it's amazing how relaxed you are. In addition, don't put your self-esteem on the line with money. It's just a trade. It's not going to change who you are in the world. Don't just look for the great glory that's going to come from one trade. Just enjoy the challenge. It's not only emotionally, financially, physically, and intellectually challenging. It's what trading is all about, is to allow the whole experience to happen. You win some, you lose some. Take losses in stride. It's part of the overall process. If you take it easy, you're going to get out of the way of yourself, and you're going to feel free, and you're going to be very creative. That is, when you try too hard, you're bound to crack. But when you let the markets take you where they want you to go, you're going to feel carefree, and you're going to trade more profitably. So don't put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Slow down. Enjoy what you are doing. And when you get to this point of relaxed, carefree, and believing what you're doing, and get out of your way, the profits will come your way. Try it. It's common sense. Well, it's common sense advice. But the bottom line is it works. So have a wonderful week of trading. Sit down. Enjoy what you've worked so hard to learn to do, and take each day one by one, each trade one by one, each pip one by one, and see the growth that you're going to have. Let's all get together next time on The Mind of a Trader. Hello and welcome to The Mind of a Trader. This is Steve Croft. I want to welcome you to this session that we do to help everybody to focus on the mental side of trading, to kind of call ourselves to understand the true action that needs to be done in our emotional side, our psychological side, so we can apply that to all the tremendous amount of teaching and mentoring and trading technology that we work with, and strategies that we work with, and programs that help us to analyze and make good trading decisions. Because that's really what it's all about, is making good trading decisions. It's not trying to come up with an idea that says that you're going to be 100% successful every time, or that you're going to make $1 million overnight. That's not what trading's about. It's a lifetime skill. It's learning the pluses and minuses, the wins and losses, the ever-changing aspect of trading. And that's what we want to talk about this morning, is change. You know, a lot of times people, wonder about change. Is the market changing over the decades and even over the centuries of trading? It's been going on since the beginning of time. Well, it kind of makes me think back to a movie that came out a while back called The Perfect Storm. And people saw that movie and was saying, wow, it's amazing how the weather can change so dramatically. But when you look at the entire picture of what happened there, it wasn't a change. The reason they call it the perfect storm was because it was another storm within the overall picture of a consistent understanding that changes happen. Now, that might almost sound like a contradictory statement. A consistent understanding that changes always happen. When we grasp that understanding about the marketplace in trading, we'll become a better trader literally within a day or so, because it'll allow us to focus on doing the right process and not worrying about the change. because change is a fact. It's been going on, I mean, for thousands and thousands of years. The one thing that people say is the only thing that stays the same in the world, in the universe, in life, is change. And think about that. Isn't that one thing that we can always depend on? If we're parents, we know that at any given second, the environment can change with whatever a child's going to do. If you're in the workplace, you never know what's going to happen, but you know that there's always going to be change. There's mergers, there's acquisitions, there's changes, there's new products. Well, the same thing in the marketplace. We know that it's going to change. So we need to grasp onto that. Now, how is change a constant, and how is change volatility? Well, look at how you get up each day. I mean, isn't it interesting that, generally you rise from the same bed each morning, you eat a very similar breakfast, you interact with the same or similar people, and many days kind of look like every other day. I mean, overall, it's a fairly straightforward and predictable day-to-day existence around us. But the existence of routine seems to sometimes contradict the idea of constant change, but does it really? Now let's take a little closer look. I mean, if you look at the aspect of how day-to-day things change, but we expect it to change, then that means it's a very consistent knowledge. That's why we kind of enjoy each day. Even though we do the same thing over and over, we're always prepared for something different. Let me put into even a different picture. Probably one of the most simplistic games in the world, when you look at the true picture of it, compared to the massive complexity of it, is chess. It's just 64 squares on a board with some wooden pieces, guided by some very simple rules that a child can learn. Yet there are more hypothetical outcomes on a game of chess than there are particulars in the entire universe. With enough variables in play, any type of rule-based system does become chaotic or changing or a perfect storm. It's always going to be complex, and it's always going to have predictability of a beginning, a middle, and an end. I mean, after millions of games of chess that all bear a lot of similarities, like our day-to-day aspect, but every game of chess ends up in a different result. The game itself is in flux, but the structure of the game is constant. The outcome is always different in some way, but the rules are always the same. Well, the pricing market, the trading market, think of it. There's only three things that can happen. Prices must either go up, they must go down, or they must go sideways. Doesn't matter whether your time frame is 1 second, 1 hour, 1 year. One of those three outcomes has to occur. I mean, it doesn't matter what all these advances in technology are, leaps in modern science, radical shifts in the perception of where the volatility of the market's going, or how the economy is going, or how the smallness of the world is becoming. The thing is, the trader, we don't need to predict the future. We don't even need to attempt to predict it, because we know it's a very long-standing rule of this game: up, down, or sideways. And as long as we understand these long-standing rules and we abide by them, think of it. If the market goes up, we buy. If the market goes down, we sell. I mean, the pricing is nothing more than just an overall perception of reality. And then as you look at all the markets around the world, when that reality changes, perceptions change. When perceptions change, prices change. And if you and I learn to react properly to these price changes, then, and pretty much only then, can we have some profit. See, over the markets really haven't changed. I mean, markets behave the same today as they did hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They're the same today because they always change. If you and I have a trading strategy that's sound, and what I mean by that is, if I've got a trading strategy that I use to make my decisions to execute a trade, if it has principles that are designed to continually adapt with the volatility or movement or change in the market, well, then I'm going to take advantage of what's happening. I can take advantage of the market changes and I can make profit. Changes in the market are no different than changes in our business life, our personal life, our health life, whatever. They'll not impact me negatively if the strategy that I use is based on change, understanding change, if it's based on reality, if it's based on flexibility, if it's based on the responsibility for me making my decisions. You see, some of us out there are just unconvinced about this. We continually argue that because of the great technological changes that we've erased the edge that a good, solid business decision can make in trading. Thereby, technology is changing the markets. Well, I'm sorry to say, but that's not true. I mean, if computers truly had an edge, then everybody would be making profit. But I can guarantee you, for every trader with a computer program that says buy it at this exact second, there are 9 other traders with computers that says sell at this exact second, and vice versa. No matter what you do, markets are going to go through different stages. There's going to be volatility, there's going to be big rises, there's going to be big sells, there's going to be consolidation, there's going to be runs up and runs down. It's been that way from the beginning to the end. And the belief in that, the belief that the markets change, is a powerful strategy for you and I. See, then it takes my focus off of trying to find the next great magical strategy. If I can stand on a discipline that the markets will always change up, down, or sideways, and all that I need to do is focus on the strategy that I have been practicing, the strategy that has proven itself over and over and over again, and I continue to use that strategy over and over and over again, then the wins will come with a lot of success. The losses that happen, I will control, and the trades that I shouldn't even take, I'll know not to take those trades. We don't need to push ourselves to try and conquer the perfect storm. We need to learn how to turn the boat into the storm, because we believe that we can captain that ship during any kind of change that happens, any kind of storm that happens. And the people that will hold on to the helm and drive through the perfect storm are the most successful traders around. Whether you've been trading for 1 week or 25 years in 1 week, the best traders in the world are the ones that have acknowledged change, embraced change, but then never change their strategy. They use a strategy that adapts, and they use a discipline that's committed, and they have a focus that every day is a new day. Ride the changes, keep doing it, take the wins, take the losses, keep track of them, and ride the helm like a captain. So I encourage you this week, when you have some trades, don't let the market storm scare you. Ride the storm in the belief of why you took that trade. If it was a bad trade and you shouldn't have taken it, get out of it. If it was the proper trade, ride it properly to your profit, or get out at the proper loss. And then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And you will be the person that everyone will look at and say, nothing seems to faze that person when they trade, good, bad, or indifferent, because you know that change is constant. And you know that the perfect storm is a storm that makes you very successful. Let's all get together next time on The Mind of a Trader.
Hey trader, if your trading is just a hobby, then E-Trade, Ameritrade, Scottrade, or any trade will work just fine. After all, it's just a hobby, right? On the other hand, if you want to trade for a living, if you want to be a professional trader, then you need a professional broker. You need direct access to the markets. You need someone who not only watches your trades, but you need someone who watches your back. Meet our brokers, Bert and Leslie. Here at the Christian Financial Radio Network, we trust only one firm with our E-mini and currency trades, Daniels Trading. Daniels Trading's dedication to providing the premier futures trading software in the industry is driven by their relentless pursuit of satisfying the needs of active traders and offering a trading platform that truly sets them apart in the industry. The result is DT Pro, and we invite you to take a free trial today at www.cfrn.net. Enjoy speed, reliability, and functionality. Save money with no software fees or hidden costs. Experience fast and reliable execution. Access free streaming real-time codes and charts. Place trades directly off the charts. Utilize one-click trading off the DOM, trailing stops, brackets, and more. Benefit from direct market access and trade in both pit and electronic markets worldwide. Activate your complimentary trial today. It's easy to take advantage of this limited time offer. Simply go to www.cfrn.net. That's www.cfrn.net. I've already disclosed that Burton Schlichter and Leslie Burton are our personal brokers, but the truth is, they're more like family. Would you like to have family in the business? Call Bert and Leslie today at 866-928-3310. That's 866-928-3310. Or check out their bio at www.cfrn.net. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Hello, and welcome to the Mind of a Trader. This is Steve Croft. It's so important that we always remember that there's so many hours throughout the week that we spend in learning our strategies, our plans, our organization, the things that help us to really put together a very solid, professional, potentially profitable trade. But there's one area that we need to always make sure that we focus on top of that, and that's what's inside of us. What really makes each one of us tick towards our profitability or our loss of profit in each one of our trades. It's calling ourselves to action, if you will, inside and out, to make sure that we understand that this lifetime skill is something that we work on, something that you fine-tune, something that you always become aware of, and know that in the good times as well as in the times of trial that we're not alone. This is a part of this tremendous financial market and this tremendous financial vehicle that we're all learning, which is trading on the foreign exchange market. You know, recently, if you've seen some of the movies out over years, I think one of the ones that really has an interesting concept in it is one that comes around the holiday season that Tim Allen is in, called The Santa Claus. And they have a phrase in there once where they state that seeing is not believing, but that believing is seeing. Do you believe that? Does that make sense to you? Seeing is not believing.
And we're back. We're here live. Welcome, good afternoon. Today's Friday. Let me spoil the evergreen effect of this webinar and just say it is the 16th day of November 2018. Everyone's here to learn a little something about Fibonacci, but I want to see who's here. I know a lot of you signed up, and some of you already typed some things into the chat box. So it is 4 p.m. Eastern, straight up. So whoever didn't make it, well, they'll probably shuffle in shortly. And I got more seats because we needed more seats, so we got more seats. Let's see what you guys have put in the chat box. So I'm not real formal with these webinars. I'm here not to preach a sermon to you so much as I am to really answer any questions that you have. Most of you who come to see something about Fibonacci probably already know a little something about Fibonacci. Just guessing. So I don't want to bore you by teaching you lots of things you already know. So based upon your feedback, things that you put into the chat box, that gives me a good, maybe I don't ask you a specific question about, but it gives me an idea what the temperature of the water is. Now, do I have a group of people who know a little bit about Fibs, a lot about Fibs, nothing about Fibs? And that will help determine how deep we go, what direction we go. Love honesty. I know nothing about Fibs. Here's another comment. I know there are Fib levels, but I don't know what they are, why they are, and why people use them. That's great. If I had scripted a question for you, that would be about it right there. Never heard of the guy. Never heard of this guy. It's interesting. You know, because I've used them for so long and for so many years. This is eye-opening for me to see that there are so many people who are committed traders and aren't familiar with Fibonacci. You'll go away today with a very different view of the markets. You will truly understand that there is an underlying flow and rhythm to the market that repeats itself over and over, a little differently each time, but it's the rhythm of the universe. It really is. And I'll show it to you. And you'll go, well, how come I never noticed that before? Well, you know, the thing is, you did notice it before. You might not have realized it, but when that particular flower or that particular face or that particular scene caught your eye, stole your heart, whatever it did, there's a pretty good chance Fibonacci was in there. Not Fibonacci the guy, Fibonacci the concept. This is a proven scientific fact. A study was done when stay with me, this is a true story. When people who are not, oh, let's just say very attractive, lean over into a crib with a baby laying there playing, cooing, the baby more often than not will cry. Scared, frightened, whatever. But when someone with a, this is the term from the scientific study, with a fib face, when someone with a man or woman, if a fib face leans over into the crib, the baby laughs and coos and is very happy. There is something in nature that is satisfied, that requires, that is built from this golden ratio, this principle that was stumbled upon by a 13th century math nerd and some rabbits. So I want to look at your comments, but that's kind of where we're going to take off from. Who he was, where he lived, how he came upon this very, I don't want to say complicated, I don't want to say deep, I want to say fundamental. Because again, I think this goes, I know it looks cute up on the screen, there's some rabbits, and I'll explain that multiplication and how Fibonacci's math applies to that, and then of course we'll tie it around to the charts and what we've seen recently and how understanding these basic principles can be very helpful. So let me just take a look at some questions. If there's anything, you know, if there's an emergency, hang up and dial 911. because I might not see your question for a minute. Let's see. Gary says, will this be recorded and placed in Telegraph? Oh, Gary, you know me too well. Yeah, if none of the equipment fails me, it will be. All right. Anjum says, can Fibs be used at any time frame? That is a great question, and the answer is yes. Absolutely can. Okay. All right, a lot of general comments. All good. Hey, Joseph P. from the UK. Good to see you. Now, I haven't chatted with you. Have you got everything you need? Yeah, if you need anything, let me know. I'm always in Telegram. So, and that goes for anyone. I'll just put it in the chat box. I spend most of the trading day, and the trading day is 23 hours. So I spend most of the trading day in Telegram, where the alert service runs, Logic 247, our 24/7 Emini alert service. And so if you want to get a hold of me, you can send me an email. You can call me. If you just need to, ask a quick question, the most pain-free way is telegram.org. It'll install on your phone, on your PC, on your Mac, on your tablet, any internet-connected device, which means I can send you alerts and signals anywhere on planet Earth. You want to go on vacation? Want to go on a cruise? We'll go up in the mountains. As long as you can connect to the internet, you'll get the signals. Whoever you trade with, they have an app for that, and you can place trades. All right, back to the math. We got math on deck. So this guy, Leonardo, he was born 13th century. In fact, let me just share with you the exact history behind him. He lived in the 12th century. Now, he was a mathematician. He had done some traveling. He got around. But when he sort of settled down after sailing about and seeing the world as a young man will do, he settled into math. He was attracted to math. Math spoke to him. It has been said numbers are the thoughts of God. Well, if this golden ratio, if this underlying principle that seems to exist everywhere in nature, that Fib face with the perfect ratio, and you'll understand what I mean in just a moment about the perfect ratio if you don't know anything already about Fibs. Now, the vision of God as a great architect has found expression through numerous sources throughout the ages. The great Christian theologian St. Augustine, who held both Pythagoras and Plato in high regard, grasped the significance of geometric form, pattern, and proportion, and their representation through numerical symbolism. It was St. Augustine who quoted, "Numbers are the thoughts of God." He went on to say the construction of the physical and moral world alike is based on eternal numbers. Galileo seemed to understand this geometrical, numerical dimension of reality when he said, "Mathematics is the alphabet with which God has written the universe." Now, you may not have been a math nerd. I was not a math nerd. I passed math. We only got up to like algebra. We really didn't do, I grew up a time ago, a couple beats back, small town in Georgia. We had public education, and I don't know that we learned anything after the 6th grade, but we had to go every day. And so my grasp of mathematics, you're not listening to some college professor who understands, I don't even play chess. Now, if you want to play checkers, come on the cruise with us to Alaska in May. I'll play checkers with you on the deck. We'll move the deck chairs around on the deck of that boat. Yeah, and we're going to look at the glaciers. 5 ports in 7 days. Okay, back to the math. Now, Johannes Kepler, famous, said that geometry existed before creation. Is that true? Is that possible? It is co-eternal with the mind of God. Geometry provided God with a model for creation. The repetitive geometry of the universe is a visual verification that there is a true plan to reality. One cannot study sacred geometry and not see that everything is connected. Let me tell you about the rabbits. Fibonacci, who was 12th century, not 13th. I misrepped him. He wanted to calculate the ideal rate of expansion of pairs of rabbits over a year's period of time. There are people still to this day who earn their living raising rabbits, practicing animal husbandry. So what does that have to do with math? Well, I'm going to explain it, and I've created a picture up there for you. Okay. Now you can look at the picture as I go over these numbers, and I think it'll make sense. If it doesn't, ask questions. So the mathematical task in front of him. Now we've all heard about rabbits and how they breed very rapidly, quickly. Not everybody knows just how quickly. Let's look at it like this. Say rabbits are able to mate at the age of 1 month. I know. So at 1 month, they're ready to mate. Pregnancy takes 1 month. Now you start to understand that whole saying by, boy, they breed like rabbits. So 2 months, you got a new rabbit. Every time you get a new rabbit, 2 months later, you get a new rabbit. Because they don't know anything other than to just produce more rabbits. It's kind of what they do. And deliver the eggs. But so at the end of its 2nd month, a female can produce another pair of rabbits. Rabbits never die, of course. And a mating pair always produces 1 new pair. 1 male, 1 female. Boy, did nature balance that out or what? Every month from the 2nd month on. The puzzle that Fibonacci posed was, if we start with a new pair from birth, how many pairs will there be in 1 year? Now, the circumstances and restrictions are not realistic, though rabbit pregnancies really do last roughly 1 month, and female rabbits can become pregnant again within a few days after giving birth. Birth litters are not always exactly 2, though they're usually more. Also, rabbits eventually, they really do die. I know, it's sad. Still, this isn't that unrealistic a situation in the short term. Now, here's the deal. To solve Fibonacci's problem, you got to do some crazy, complicated math. I'll show you kind of what it looks like. Now, this part I keep up with. When we dive into this and this, not to mention this, I don't speak any of this. I speak that. Here's what else I speak. I speak this. What does that have to do with it? Well, let's go back. The Fibonacci series is this. Yeah, you can write this down. You'll probably just remember it. You start with the number 1. You add 1 to itself. 1 plus 1. You get 2. If you add 1 and 2 together, you get 3. If you add 2 and 3 together, you get 5. If you add 3 and 5 together, you have 8. 5 and 8 make 13. 8 and 13 make 21. 13 and 21 make 34. 21 and 34, of course, are 55. And if you add 34 to 55, and don't forget to carry the 1, you're sitting at 89. Throw 55 on top of that, you're banging the door on 144. This goes into infinity. As far as the mind can reach, that's how far that sequence of numbers go. Every day. Every day. Now, these numbers, these rabbits. Yeah, let me give you the rabbit story again. Fibonacci assumed each pair would produce another pair as soon as they matured at 1 month. And then it would take a month, right? In January, a new pair of rabbits would be born. They would reach maturity in February and breed, producing a new pair in March. They would then breed again and produce a new pair in April and another pair in May, and so on. Meanwhile, the rabbits that were born in March would reach maturity in April, so in May we would see 2 new pairs of bunnies produced, bringing it to a total of 5 pairs. Now, the rabbits born in January, March, and April would all be adding new pairs, bringing June's total to 8 pairs. The expansion would carry forward with each new pair coming to maturity and starting their own little Fibonacci series to be added to the whole. Over the months, with no death, the rabbit pair expansion looks like this. Anyone can see that by December, the poor owner would be inundated with rabbits. Sharp-eyed readers can see that each new number in the sequence is a combination of the 2 numbers before it. 5 plus 8 is 13, and so on. Many respond to this with a shrug and a mental note to not let Fibonacci near their rabbits. Turns out, he was really onto something. Mathematicians and artists took this sequence of numbers and coded it in gold. The first step was taking each number in the series and dividing it by the previous number. At first, the results don't look special. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Riveting stuff. But as the sequence increases, something strange begins to happen. 5 divided by 3 is 1.666. 8 divided by 5 is 1.6. 13 divided by 8 is 1.625. 21 divided by 13 is 1.615. As the series goes on, the ratio of the latest number to the last number zeroes in on 1.618. It approaches 1.618, getting increasingly accurate but never quite reaching that ratio. This was called the golden mean, or the divine proportion, and it seems to be everywhere in art and architecture. The Greeks used the 1.618 proportion to construct the golden rectangle. It was a rectangle with sides measuring 1 and 1.618, or with sides measuring to consecutive Fibonacci numbers. This was considered the most mathematically beautiful structure and frequently used in architecture. The Parthenon incorporates a number of golden rectangles into its structure and decoration. The pyramids have their own divine proportions. The base of the pyramids is considered 1 unit. The sloping sides are 1.618 units, and the height is the square root of 1.618 units high. I brought pictures because sometimes the math stuff just goes over my head. Rabbits, I understand. Breeding like rabbits, now I understand. Okay, now what does this have to do with trading? How do we get there from here? Well, let's just look at a couple more examples of this golden ratio, the golden spiral in nature. It's everywhere from a flower to a strand of your DNA. Flower. Do you see that perfect symmetry? See, that flower would not scare a little baby. Okay? Maybe some ragweed might, but no, a little baby would coo at this because it has perfect symmetry. It has a fib face. The numbers of petals in a flower consistently follow the Fibonacci sequence. Famous examples include the lily, which has 3 petals, buttercups, which have 5, the chicory, 21, the daisy, 34, and so on. Pi appears in petals on account of the ideal packing arrangements as selected by, I'm going to go with God's processes. Each petal is placed at 0.618034 per turn out of a 360-degree circle, allowing for the best possible exposure to sunlight and other factors. And I guess that just crawled up out of the primordial ooze too. I don't think so. Do you? What do we got here? The head of a flower is subject to Fibonacci. Sunflowers provide a great example of the spiraling pattern. 21, 34. Pine cones. There it is again. Fruits and vegetables. Tree branches. Fibonacci sequence can also be seen in the way tree branches form or split. A main trunk will grow until it produces a branch which creates 2 growth points. Then one of the new stems branches into 2 while the other one lies dormant. This pattern of branching is repeated for each of the new stems. A good example is the sneezewort. Root systems and even algae exhibit this pattern. The shells you picked up at the beach as a kid, the ones you loved the most, the prize you took home was the one that had the perfect Fibonacci spiral, which we're going to use in the market here in just a second. The galaxy itself. That looks an awful lot like that was on the other page. Down here. Oh, we'll go back to it. The one where the Parthenon. Yeah. We'll go back to the Parthenon. Hurricanes. Look. Probably the single most powerful natural force that we know on Earth. Maybe other than an earthquake or volcano. I guess they're all pretty forces to be reckoned with. Alright. You see it? You either see it or you don't. You know what? Some people never see fibs. They're just like, no, I don't see it. I don't get it. Maybe you got to look at it for a while. I kind of got it. Oh, here we go. Fib face. Now, everyone would say, man and woman alike, present today, that is a very attractive woman. If it were a man, you could be okay. It doesn't mean anything. You could say, well, that's an attractive man. Okay. Because they have that structure. Model talk, bone structure. Oh, they got the cheekbones. Okay, yeah. All right. No, they got a fib face. It's true. Some people are born with them, and some people aren't. Okay. I have a luxurious mane, but I don't have a fib face. I know that, so I'm not going to pretend to be one of the beautiful people. I mean, I'm kind of pretty, but I'm not beautiful. The mouth and nose are each positioned at golden sections of the distance between the eye and the bottom of the chin. Similar proportions can be seen from the side and even the eye and ear itself, which follows a spiral. The seashell, the Fibonacci spiral, the ear. Check it out. It's worth noting that every person's body is different, but that averages across populations tend toward right there. It's also been said that the more closely our proportions adhere to it, the more attractive those traits are perceived. As an example, the most beautiful smiles, in quotes, are those in which central incisors are 1.618 wider than the lateral incisors, which are 1.618 wider than canines, and so on. You kind of understand? Yeah. Looking at the length of our fingers, each section from the tip of the base to the wrist is larger than the preceding one by roughly the ratio of pi. Even our bodies exhibit proportions that are consistent with Fib numbers. For example, the measurement from the navel to the floor and the top of the head to the navel is the golden ratio. Animal bodies exhibit similar tendencies, including dolphins. The eyes, fins, and tail all fall at golden sections. Starfish, sand dollars, sea urchins, ants, honeybees. It's everywhere. Speaking of honeybees, they follow Fibonacci in other interesting ways. The most profound example is by dividing the number of females in a colony by the number of males. Females always outnumber males. Yay. The answer is typically something very close to, I'll just throw a number out there. How about 1.618? In addition, the family tree of honeybees also follows the familiar pattern. Males have one parent, a female, whereas the females have two, a female and a male. Thus, when it comes to the family tree, males have, oh, what's this? 2, 3 equals 5, 3, 5 equals 8. Grandparents, great-grandparents, following the same pattern, females have 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on. Follows the golden curve rather nicely. Animal fight patterns. When a hawk approaches its prey, its sharpest view is at an angle to the direction of flight, an angle that's the same as the spiral's pitch. You've all seen it on Wild Kingdom. When that hawk makes that final turn, ready to swoop down. The uterus. According to Jasper, a lady doctor at the University Hospital tells us that a uterus looks normal and healthy based on its relative dimensions. Dimensions that approximate, the golden ratio. Okay. DNA, it's there. It's everywhere. This is science, not junk science. This is science. This is real deal science. It doesn't get any more real than this. Now that I've exposed you to it, you're going to start to notice it in your day-to-day life. I'm going to show it to you in the market right now. And it's something that never goes away. Now, I'm going to say this straight away up front. Fibonacci is not a standalone trading methodology. It is a powerful tool. And if you're trading without a basic knowledge of Fibonacci, well, you're being woefully underserved. So, may I offer my services? I'm going to show you a little bit right here. And then if you want some coaching, get a hold of me. You can book I'll put a link in the chat box. You can book a mentoring session, a free mentoring session. Yeah, you can. All right. I'll give you 45 minutes and I'll show you what I can. Answer any questions you have and talk to you about what we do. This is today's market. You see what happened? Took a run up. It's been kind of all over the place this week to the downside. All over the place to the downside. Every one of these moves, though, follows a pattern. If you know anything about Fibs, your eye sees it. And if you don't, you're about to see it. If I take the Fib tool here and I go up to the swing high. Now, here, let me, all right, hang on. I'm going to go from that high to this low. Okay. Why? Okay. What I would like you to see, which apparently is different than what the computer would like you to see. Let's try that again. Okay. You know, we could just go to this chart. Let me go to this chart and show you. Here. get rid of this one. We're going to go back to the other chart, which is a 30-minute chart. We're going to go back to that in a minute, but I want to show you this on the daily first. From the most recent swing low in the market, we basically hit 2,600 on the S&P. And so from that low to the swing high, that allows us to use our Fib tool. You grab the tool. Now this is in DT Pro, but it's kind of the same in whatever platform you might be using. If you've got a platform, it most certainly has a Fib tool, so you might have to dig around for it. I've used this one for so many years, I don't even remember where it is in TradeStation or where it is in Ninja. So you grab it, left click from the low up to the high. Now what you've done is you have created areas where as the market, because remember, when we draw that, we don't have all those candles. We only have that. We've got this swing low, we've got this swing high, and we got this little candle here just barely opening up, starting to print red. So we can draw fibs from the swing low to the swing high. Is there anybody who does not understand that basic principle right there? We're going to use the Fib tool, left click, bring it over, drag it, position it at the swing low, and then drag it up to the swing high, let go of the mouse button, and you've got a 24% Fibonacci retracement, a 38% Fibonacci retracement. The exact number is 23.6 and 38.2, but after you say it enough, you just start to round them. A 50%, probably the single most important retracement, the 50%. Sometimes it's underbooked, but the 62, that's a big deal. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, and then you're back at the low. So how does this help us, and what does it tell us? Okay, if this market, after this day, if the market starts to sell off, it's going to be drawn to the 24% Fibonacci retracement. When it gets to that 24% Fibonacci retracement, now this is based on the last leg up on a daily chart. You can't duplicate what I'm doing on a 30-minute or a 5-minute. This is daily. Okay, so if the market starts to retrace, first place it will be drawn to is the 24% Fib retracement. If it gets there, what will happen? Will it hold or will it not hold? I don't know. But here's what I do know. I do know that at that 24% Fibonacci retracement, because it's the S&P 500 and any other major markets, and because there's a world of people watching daily charts and plotting Fibonacci levels, at that 24%, I'm confident there's going to be a bounce. It may hold, the bounce may hold, the bounce may not. I don't care. As long as it bounces enough to give me my goal for the day, whatever that is. And then if price continues down and gets to the 38, about 27.35, okay, then I know I'm going to get a really good bounce and I'll be able to get my points for the day. And if it continues on down and gets to the 50, 27.10, whee, I'm going to have a great bounce. If it gets all the way to 62, look out, because if the 62 doesn't hold, man, we're going all the way down here. So good chance the 62 will hold, because this is a daily chart and there's a lot of people watching it, and some people don't want to see the market drop too far. So now this was November 7th. Last Thursday night, in our, not last night, but the Thursday before, in our workshop, which passport holders and CFRN partners, we have a workshop every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And so on that Thursday night, we drew this chart for the first time because someone in the workshop that night said, hey, could you teach on Fibs, or would you teach on Fibs? And I said, sure, yeah, if that's what you guys want tonight, that's what I'll do. And so I did, and we made this chart. And then as the week has progressed, okay, take a look here. Now, this is last, let's see, this is Monday, Friday, Thursday. So we had a little bit of red on that Thursday night. We were just getting the open, the very open of the Friday night Globex session. So we had a little bit of red showing there. So we drew these, but what we didn't have is we didn't have this information. But I said if price gets to 27.66, everyone else is going to see that as, well, it's just another number. It's 65, 66, 67. But you'll know, I said next week, if price gets there, you'll know ahead of time to expect a good bounce. Now let me show you that good bounce and just how good it was. It was pretty good. Okay. This is just a freebie, has nothing to do with the webinar. When the market looks like a northern shoveler, stat. Northern shoveler. The market. That was this morning. So if you're wondering why no alerts much today, a lot, yeah. Because I can't trade a northern shoveler. And that was the market. So anyway, up to the charts I want to show you. And here they come. Okay, now this is that chart, but you'll notice this green candle, I snapped this the other day. This green candle hasn't printed yet. This green candle hasn't printed yet. Let me just blow it up so you can see it. See there? Okay. So as price gets down to 27.66, I said, you know guys, expect a bounce. Now in this daily chart, the bounce, it doesn't look like a whole lot, right? Well, it bounced from 27.66 to 27.91. That's a pretty good bounce. 25 points or something. 25 point bounce. Boom. Now important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So I'm going to leave it up to you to go take a look at your chart and see if it tested it again. Now, we had also said, now that was 27.66. If price gets down to 27.36, well, you should expect another great bounce there. Well, it doesn't look like we got a bounce here. Okay, but this can be very deceiving because a lot can happen inside of a day. Did it touch 27.36 and rush higher? Let's see. 27.36 up to about 27.45, back down to 27.36 because important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And this time we run from 36 all the way up to 52. I think that's about 16 S&P points at $50 per point. On the next day, the 13th, we would be looking here. Okay, the next number that we're looking to hit on the downside is that 50%, the big one. That's the big one, the 50% Fibonacci retracement. The 62 is even bigger, but the 50, you'll see as we hit there, 27.10. So you're looking at this on we go from a daily chart to a 30-minute, showing you the first time we hit that number, just the initial knee-jerk reaction, the initial bounce. You see that? Now, is it really possible that we sat there on a Thursday night and plotted the potential movement of the market for the next week and knew where there would be reasonably safe places to attempt to get long the market? Now, remember, these bounces are coming in a falling market. Everybody's worried the sky's falling, right? No, we're not worried because we understand the rhythm of the market, which is patterned after the rhythm of the universe, just as everything that you put your hand to is. All right, on the 14th, we hit 27.10. This is on the 30-minute chart. So it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to go from 27.10 to 27.48. That's 38 S&P points. almost $2,000 per contract. And that's just off a bounce that what failed. This bounce failed. We don't care if it failed. It doesn't matter, because the market just handed out 38 points off a known spot. We knew the market was going to bounce there. We knew it would at least try to bounce. Let me say that properly. We knew it would try to bounce. Now, sometime is buyer apathy or seller aggressiveness such that there's no bounce? Yeah, but it's rare. If you're looking at a daily chart, and remember now, even though we're plotting this part out on a 30-minute, this number came from the daily chart. And when you look at the daily chart, you're running with you don't have to stay on the porch. Now, what happened when we hit the 62% fib? Whoa. Now, this is a triple whammy for passport holders, or triple goody. For passport holders, CFRN partners, because we had a last week weekly trading zone, a this week weekly trading zone, and a 62% Fibonacci retracement on the daily chart. Now, I'm plotting this on a 30-minute chart from zone to zone to zone to zone to zone to zone, as it does. So we've got last week's zones, we got this week's zones, which happen to come out right in the same neighborhood. We got a 62% Fibonacci retracement. Price comes down and touches 2685. 2685. That's that number. This was put in. This was typed Thursday night before any of these candles printed. Now, it's not black magic. It's not voodoo. It's not witchcraft. Some say it's God's thoughts. Numbers are God's thoughts. I don't want to go on a whole theological rampage here, but hey, you get what I mean. Yeah? Okay, so look at the bounce here on the last day off the 62. We bounced from 2685 to 2723. So that's 23 and 15. I don't know, 38? 38 point bounce. Yeah, it's right here. 38 point bounce. Followed by, and remember, never forget, if you take nothing else away from this webinar except a couple rabbits, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And so this we would consider a highly important area because of the three things: daily 62% fib and 2 weeks worth of weekly trading zones, just all globbed up together there. Is that going to be good support? At least for a while. Okay. So did it give a good bounce? Yeah. 38 points, 31 points. And that brings us into where we are in the market today. Now, we got a toe hold here at the 62% retracement. Now, we tried at the 24. That's what the bounce is about. Buyers came in and they pushed the market up. Couldn't do it. So it dropped to the 38 and they pushed and they pushed and they couldn't do it. And so it dropped to the 50. And they pushed and they pushed and they bought and they bought. It takes financial commitment for markets to rise. All it takes for markets to fall is for buyers to give up and step aside. Step aside. Step aside. Step aside. This requires no financial commitment. It requires a lack of financial commitment. But at the 62, the buyers united and stood their ground. They've now pushed it back up above the 38. And that's a good sign. It got above the 50, got above the 38. I was anticipating a bearish open Sunday night, but the way this market closing this week, and see, futures are still trading, but the way we're closing this week, I think we got a bullish close here, and so I'm not nearly as bearish on Sunday night as I was. Although when we get back to here, it's a different story. Now let me show you one last thing on the fibs, just real quick. Now you might wonder, okay, why did price stop here? See, when price was coming down, it went leg, retrace, leg, then it took a much deeper retracement. Had it taken out this high, it would have become a reversal. It can still become a reversal, but it's got to take out this high first. But it put in a double top. Now, why is that? What could a 13th century math nerd and his rabbits possibly have to say about why price on the way down couldn't get back up, and when it got down and got back up, this is as far as it could get, and it got knocked down again? What's going on? Is this a conspiracy? Nah, just math from a guy who's not so good at math. That's why Michael and I hit it off, because he does math real well. He carries the one and everything. Well, what do you know? From the swing high to the swing low, this was a perfect 62% Fibonacci retracement. But what about this, you say? Great question. Just see the big picture first. From the swing high to the swing low on a daily chart, this ran right up to the 62% Fibonacci retracement and sold off. Is it any surprise that I had a bit of conviction in my voice when I laid out the possibilities for what would happen on the way down? Now see, this is a gift from God, because you don't have to go out and buy anything. You know, I don't have any fib related t-shirts or hats to sell you. It's math. Math is free, as far as I know. You can take this and run with it as far as you want. Don't get too carried away, and always remember that Fibonacci is not a standalone trading methodology. It's a powerful tool, and if you're not using it to your advantage, then it's being used against you to your disadvantage. So if you just learn the basic simplicities of Fibs, basic things like I showed you today, you don't have to study it for 2 years. You don't have to go live on a mountaintop and shave your head and wear sackcloth and get out of a wooden bowl. No, no, no. You don't have to do that. Spend 45 minutes with me. Won't cost you anything. Go to cfrn.net. Here, let me put it in the chat box. I want to go through this, all these questions here. I guess they're questions or comments, whatever they are. I'm gonna wade through them. cfrn.net/emini person. Oh, hang on 1 second. Please. There, I finally got it in the right place, I think. No, I still didn't. I was trying to get it. Hang on. Yeah. Alright, finally got it in. It kept moving. Every time I'd go to paste that, it would jump. And so, yeah. Go there, book a 45-minute session. If you're not a partner, if you're a partner or passport holder, you know that you have unlimited access to one-on-one mentoring. All you got to do is book it. And I'm telling all of you that are here today as guests for the webinar, I'm extending that same courtesy to you. I want to extend another courtesy to you as well. My plan was to go through every one of the Logic 247 alerts for this week. And if you guys want that, if you want to stick around for it, I'm going to give you a link so that you can go into the review channel and look at it for yourself. You know, that's how confident I am that you're just going to love what you see. And that's what happened this week in front of the world. And that's week 14. We did a 3-week beta test. We're now 14 weeks out of beta. And we couldn't feel more blessed. God's really smiled on us. And this particular venture, you know, we've been doing the Concierge Trade Alerts for about 3 years. That was in a 3-year beta before we took it live. And, well, it kind of speaks for itself. Our weekly trading zones, also, we've published those since December 14th of 2009. Yeah. Coming up on our 9-year anniversary for the weekly trading zones. And if you go out and Google CFRN weekly trading zones, you'll find articles and charts and blog posts and all kinds of things that kind of paint a picture for you, the history. And the thing you'll take from the charts, it's so great, I love it. Nothing's changed. If you look at a chart from 2009 and a chart from today, if you can see the zones but not see the price, because the price is a giveaway what year you're in, perhaps, you follow me, you can't tell the difference, because the way the market moves from zone to zone to zone to zone is the same. It hasn't changed. And as far as I can go back in history and recreate the scenario, it never changed there. Is that Fibonacci? No, but remember, Fibonacci is baked into everything, whether you believe it or not. It's kind of like gravity. You can deny gravity. Don't step off any tall buildings. And I guess if you don't have a fib face, don't smile at any babies. All right, I'm going to jump down here to the chat box. Will you have a replay of this? My schedule got rearranged. Ken, no problem. You hit the road, I'll post this all over the internet, or in the usual places. Okay, I'll put it in the channel. Guys, really, that is the best way to get me. Telegram. I'm gonna put that in here. Telegram.org @CFRN. Now, this little thing that we just kind of scratched the surface on up here. See, some of you might have known about these fibs, you know, on the retracements, but these reverse fibs that I just laid on you. So what you're trying to say, Mr. Reeves, is that from this swing high to this swing low, that's one set of rabbits. But that over here, from here to here, you have another set of rabbits? Well, yeah, funny you should say that, because if you come over here, now you got another set of rabbits. And if we start dropping down into smaller time frames, we got more and more and more rabbits. Markets are fractal in nature. Fibonacci is the essence of fractal. Now, is this just some, you know, cherry-picked example that I grabbed from somewhere? I don't think so. Let me just go a continuous chart at ES, just to kind of show you. And I'm doing this on a daily chart, not because it's only apparent on a daily chart. It's the same on a 1-minute chart. If I go from this swing high to this swing low, spike the 62. Did it escape the 62? Not this time. Show you one more thing, and then we'll reserve that for when we get together in a mentoring session. From the swing high to the swing low, to the swing high. What does that tell us based on a 12th century math nerd, his rabbits? Well, from this swing high to this swing low to this retracement high, according to Fibonacci and his rabbits, we should get at least a 100% extension, which is right here. And there's a chance that we'll get a 1.168 extension, which is there. Now that's a random 1-minute chart. You won't find a chart where it doesn't exist. Now the question does become, you know, as you know, familiarity does breed contempt. And as you get familiar with fibs, you might sometimes get a little frustrated. And I can help you with that. All right. You can't just draw fibs willy-nilly. You kind of got to know what's important. It's just like important prices, important areas are almost always tested. I say that every day on the radio show, and people go, well, how do I know it's an important price, important area? I go, well, you're a partner, right? You're a passport holder. Well, you know. Everybody knows. Angela, how can this week, Monday to Friday numbers will predict next week's fibs? Oh, that's a fair question. we could look at that. Well, I think we just did. This is the past week in essence, right? And we're starting to move higher. So if we just pull from here down to here, the market is going to have an obstacle right here. It's having a challenge getting above 27.42, the reverse fib from the swing high to the swing low. If we get through here, it might just pop right up to 27.62, 27.63, but it's gonna battle to get through there. So if you're someone who likes to sell short, as we hit that 62% fib retracement, this thing is gonna back up. Instead of bouncing like we saw it do on the way down, on the way up when it hits it, it's going to be resistance at first, and we might touch it and back off it, touch it and back off it, touch it and back off it 10 times over the course of a day. And then if we finally make it through, then this area here, I love this. This is what I call my window of opportunity. I'm giving away way too much on this webinar. Go find that. Have fun. Seriously. Good stuff. All right, questions. Yeah, YouTube, Ken. It'll be on YouTube. You bet. How to drag the tool down one more time? Sure. You just, right over here, this one, this is the Fibonacci retracements. Now, the retracements you're going to use for an uptrend, well, you're just going to reverse them, but just left click it and then come over here, position it right at the low, left click, and hold the left button down and drag up and just position it right at the top like that. And so now you can see that, and all you needed to do that was just that swing high, because you're connecting the swing low to the swing high of the last leg up. Now that's important to understand, and I'll get into that deeper with you if you want. We've got a leg and a retrace, a leg and a deeper retracement, but this is the last leg up. So you have to focus on like the whole picture or just the last leg. And so that's what we chose to do here because it's a daily chart. So just focusing on the last leg up, that's a lot, okay? And so we knew the points where it would potentially bounce, and it did every single time. On the way up, as we hit this, we would expect it to draw back. Now, if we climb above this, up into this area, now what's even more interesting, let me just show you one more thing. Okay, so here, if we get to here, all right, if we can, now we've got a double top here, and we understand why, right? Because from the high to the low, okay, so we know why that's there. But again, if we get above this, look at this area up here, free falling up, melting up. Looks like this is where we wrap the week up. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me answer that question. If you take any one of these fibs and just double click it, it'll open the property box. Now, here's the deal. On DT Pro, sometimes when I load my platform, it doesn't load the commands for the Fibonacci retracements. And when that happens, it's only rare, but this happens to be one of those times. Just save your work, log out, log back in, and it'll populate, because there's a ton of controls down here. And you can change where the number's positioned, what color it is, how many levels you show. Maybe you're a person that, you just love that 50% retracement on an hourly chart. Can you make a career out of trading a 50% retracement on an hourly chart? I dare say you could. Don't see why you couldn't. Because on an hourly chart, guess what? When price gets to a 50% retracement, what's it going to do? It's going to bounce. Do you have the skill and expertise and tools to get in there and actually take out what the market's offering? I don't know. If not, I'll try to help you if you want some help. Just use that link that I put in the chat box. Okay, let me see. There's a lot of questions. I want to answer as many as I can. Kevin, I think I answered your question. You got to double click it and go into the properties box. Can you make the numbers more bold and also the lines? Yes, you can, Randy. Absolutely. You can. When you open that property box, and I'm sorry that mine doesn't open today, you'll find all those tools in there. Bold and italics, and you can show the percentage or not show the percentage. You can show the percentage in price. You can do all kinds of stuff. You make it look any way you want. Okay, scrolling up. If you could slowly show us your settings for the Fib retracements and extensions so we can take pics of them, I'd appreciate it. Which 2 points need to connect to... Angel, were you able to get what you needed out of that? Gary asked for almost the identical thing. I'm just using the built-in settings. I mean, I haven't altered this. I don't know, maybe I changed a font or something on I don't think so though. It's just pretty much out of the box. And that's how Fibonacci should be. You don't tinker with was that old commercial? You don't fool Mother Nature. Yeah. You don't want to do that. Okay. I wanted to give you something. See if I can find it. Well, that's not it. I'm going to put this in the chat box, and anybody that wants to take a look, a peek at what we did this week, I got to put the link in for you to go into the Telegram channel and see the alerts from this week. There was some pretty incredible alerts. Hey, whether you become a passport holder or not, I think you would benefit from going and taking a peek. Alright, I'll be done mousing around here and give you my undivided attention momentarily. Still checking. I will give you this in the meantime while I'm pulling up notes. And put it in the chat box. If you were on the radio show today or in the live training room, you already have it. But I'm going to put it in here again. And I know some of you got to go. And once I close this meeting down, it won't be here. So. Alright, sorry it took so long. Okay, for those of you that asked, the passport link, if you want to become a passport holder, it's there. But what I really want you to hang on for is not that link as much as the alert channel that I created this week. This way you can go in at your own leisure and you can take a look around. And these are the alerts exactly as they went out and exactly as they were recapped. It's just a carbon copy. That's all I did was copy and paste it into a channel for you. So manage channel info. Okay. Save. Alright. Here we go. Alright, so now this link right here. That link right there takes you to Telegram, and that takes you into that channel that I was just speaking about. It's got every alert up through yesterday. And we didn't have many today. Market was just kind of odd. I wasn't too keen on it, but we still had alerts, and we still had good results. So it's been a beautiful week. It really has. I haven't done the percentages. If you go in there and want to do the percentages for me, that'd be great. Randy, do the weekly that's a great question. Do the weekly trading zones interfere with the fibs? You know, amazingly enough, and now that you know about fibs, you'll be able to try this out yourself because you have access to the weekly trading zones. The zones are not based on fibs, and all you can do is take my word for that, but they're not. And that means something to me, though, because when the fibs do in fact line up with a weekly trading zone, whether I'm looking at a 30-minute leg, a daily leg, or a monthly leg, if I got a fib lining up with a weekly trading zone, boy, that gets my attention. I'm probably going to trade to that number, away from that number. There are going to be alerts to and from, because it's a big deal. Good question. To those who said that the fibs seem a little confusing at the very beginning, hopefully it's a little bit clearer. Now, the transition from the golden ratio and the rabbits to the 28, to the 24, the 38, and the 50, and the 62, don't stretch your mind too much over that. Just, you know what? You can go on the internet and you can dive as deep as you want because math is free. Okay? Learn as much as you want. Just know that what I showed you today and what we can cover in a few mentoring sessions will give you all the knowledge you need to use fibs, not as a standalone trading methodology, but as a useful tool in your own trading. Okay? It really will make a difference, and it won't cost you a dime. Okay? Fibs are free, and so is me for 45 minutes. Let me see what other questions there are. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom, guys, because there's a lot of comments, and I appreciate all the good positive comments that I got from you. And I'm willing to do this again. A lot of people have said, hey, can you do that again? Can you slow down? I'm sorry. I am. So I will do it again. In fact, somebody asked me, are you going to have a webinar every Friday? Because it's been 2 Fridays in a row. Maybe. It's possible. Let's see. Put one more link in here for you. And then I'm going to pull up the channel, and I'm just going to run through it real quickly. Not going to spend a lot of time because it's late, and I promised I was going to get this done on time today for once. Yeah, for no other reason than just to prove that I can. I know what my challenges are in life, and, well, that's one of them. Efficient time management, when I'm talking about something that I'm very passionate about. So, it's like the preacher that just can't shut up. I know, I was that guy too. So, it's one of the reasons I stepped down. Send to all. There you go. Now, that's Passport pop-up from last week, and it's got all the numbers are taken out because you only had 10 available and all that. I'm just sending it to you so that I gave you the link if you want it, so that you can read what is part of the Passport, what is Logic 247, what are weekly trading zones. That gives you an idea. Okay, it's an expired landing page, so it's not a sales page. It's just, it was a sales page. Last week it was a sales page. This week it's an information page. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I'm going to bring the channel up, and we'll take a quick look. This is the recap channel, recap of week 14. But I'm going to go into the live channel, which is a carbon copy. And I'm going to scoot up to the beginning of the week. Yep, Veterans Day. What day are we on? Thursday, November 8th. So the week started on the 11th, Sunday night, last Sunday night, Globex Open. Oh, this is the running total. I showed this to you guys last week, August 12th through August 17th. We just finished week 14. But these were the numbers for week 1, 2. That just means 80% of the alerts were of profit, and 20% got stopped out. That's the truth about trading. 17% of the alerts were stopped out. Week 3, 24. This week, 28. 14%, 18%, 23%, 19%, 15%, 18%, 20%, 10%. That was by far the best week. 11%, that was close. Another 11 right behind it. And so averaging all of those out, I haven't averaged in this week yet, put us at 20%, and that's just the truth about trading. Trades do indeed get stopped out. So here we are at week 14. Last Sunday night, Globex Open, ding ding, except there's no bell at the Globex Open. Maybe there is, I never heard it. Consider selling the S&P. We made it to the target. Boom, boom, made it to the final target. And there was a big trail after it. Now, I put tip on almost every alert. That means trail if possible. But it's, if I don't ever type it, it remains. It's there. You always want to trail if the market conditions invite you to trail. If market conditions are hostile, then take your profit and exit the market. The market will tell you when it's time to get out. You just have to know what to look for. So then coming on down, the Dow, sold the Dow Sunday night on Globex, reached the target, big trail. The Russell, as long as you see a thumbs up, then that means the alert ended up in a profitable position. And this will happen, okay? From 70.08 to 69.98 to 69.68, the swing low was 68.40. That put $2,400 per contract available after the target. Now, this is an extended move where we use our indicators to show us a clear-cut exit signal before we exit the trade. Just because we have a hard target, if price sails through your hard target, there's no reason to get out. Just sail on. Just sail with it till it stops sailing. Then get out. And our indicators will tell you when that happens. Stopped out. Truth about trading. Crude oil, it ran up $940, or ran down $940 per contract traded after the target. The exit signal appeared at 59.01. The target, the final target there was 59.95. We were just expecting the gap to close on Sunday night, and it did. And ran down an additional $940 per contract traded before it printed the exit signal at 59.01. And throughout the week, there's a lot of commentary, and you can take the time to read this as you go through here. But I invite you to come. You've got the link. Take a look, read. Oh, we have prayer for years, quite a few years. I haven't been there in a long time. I'm just going to be honest. I started it, and then my morning routine, my life kind of changed a little bit. I wasn't able to get in there, but the guys and the ladies have been so faithful to keep it going. It is the longest running traders prayer breakfast in the free world, probably the unfree world too. But seriously, you see that number? 60, write it down, 605-475-2090. Why don't I just copy and paste it? Put it in the chat box. How about that? And if you're watching this after the fact, hit pause and write it down. There you go. Okay. Oh, and one of the commentaries this week, for the indices, we have either the ultimate head fake or the markets are about to attempt a leg to the upside. Well, we hedged the indices, no triggers, didn't expect one, That's the purpose of a hedge, in case things don't go the way you expect. Here's gold, reach the target. This would be the euro, the 6E. This ran another $806 at the time I recapped it, beyond the target. And then we get into Monday. Here comes Monday. Thank you, veterans. The fact that we take the day off for Columbus and not Veterans Day, I don't know. I put in a call to my congressman. He hasn't called back. All right, gold, short gold. Got there. ES. So there's no reason for me to drag you through all of these. You'll go, you'll see. Thumbs up, awesome. Thumbs down, truth about trading. You do get stopped out. And Z means just sleeping. It's just never triggered. Price. Now, not a lot, but there's a percentage of alerts that I don't really expect to trigger. Everyone's so convinced it's going a certain way that I'm sort of hedging the potential or the possible. Because if it does swing the other way, it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. And as they rush to protect their backside, that will push us, small boats on the ocean, turning big waves, something like that. It's a lyric from a song my daughter plays. I can't get it out of my head, and I can't get the lyrics right. Got stopped out on a daily double the other day. Natural gas. Ooh, did we have a good time on natural? We didn't know from natural gas. This thing ran $7,790 per contract available after the target. Now, we had a nice target, but it kept running and running and running and running. I'm going to put you on hold for just 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. So again, scroll through here and break your charts out. That's important so that these are meaning. Otherwise, it's just numbers on a page. Okay? Life's a participation sport. It's not a spectator sport. So, get your hands dirty. Roll up your sleeves. If you want to, this one ran $500 per contract after the target. And on those moves, I will show you that what you do is you wait for the exit signal. Sometimes it's hard to sit still. Now, this is natural gas. This is a $7,000 move. This is the initial move, right? There was no move. We were looking to get long up in here. Now watch this. Same market, next day. This square rectangle encapsulated the move that we were interested in, which we didn't get till a day later. $7,000. We just stumbled into it. See, sometimes good things do happen to good people. This is proof. We just stumbled into that. 7,790. Back to the Fibs. Oh, okay. So scroll through here at your leisure. Take your time. If you like what I had to say on Fibs, there's a little video in here that's got some Fib talk in it. It's actually a sneak peek behind the scenes, and you just might enjoy that. So it's at the bottom. Now the stuff at the very bottom, you won't have this because this is stuff that came out today. But if what we've done has piqued your interest, if what we have to offer is of interest to you, then by all means, call me, 833-464. That's 833-464-6393. And if you're more of a visual person, 833 In God We Trust. 833 In God We Trust. True story. 833-464-6393. Email support@cfrn.net. support@cfrn.net. In Telegram, I am at the @ symbol, like in your email, CFRN, and the number 1. Okay, you got that? All right. That's going to do it for today. I know you keep waiting for the pitch. Hey, he's winding up for the pitch. I don't have a pitch today. I'm not going to pitch you. If you look at that Passport channel, and if you see what's happened, Arlene says thank you. If you look at that Passport, if you look at that Logic 247 channel, and if what you see does not give you goosebumps, well, that's okay. It's all right. But when it does, don't think you're weird. It's goosebump worthy. But seriously, if it's something that you can put to use, if you can put it to work in your trade, then get a hold of me. All right, I do, of course. It's the law. You can't have a webinar without a special. I'm just not going to pitch you on it. I got a special. If you want it, get a hold of me. That's all. No hard sell. Remember, fibs are free. Math is free. And do you know how many years you could just spend mining and exploring the depths of what we just barely scratched the surface today? But I want to tell you, don't go too far down the rabbit hole. You don't have to know everything there is to know about fibs. You don't. You do not have to know everything there is to know about fibs. You just need to know what a 24%, a 38%, a 50%, and a 62% Fibonacci retracement looks like. Once you know that, I'll teach you some more. Once you get that down, I will be Gary. I will be in the prayer room every day. Oh, Jorge, yes, absolutely. There's a stop loss. We believe in aggressive risk management. On the alerts, we never want to risk more than $300 per contract per trade. But we don't use an arbitrary number. We don't say, oh, well, I'm going to use a 3-point stop or a 5-point stop, or I'm going to risk. We don't want to risk more than 300, but we only want to risk what we have to risk. So we have a method where we address our 30-minute chart right here. If we can't find our acceptable stop loss on a 30-minute, then we have a couple other places that we look, and we find where the market says it's okay to place an order here and place your stop here. Clear as day. Sometimes it doesn't show you that, and so you have to be self-disciplined to just wait, because important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And there's probably no, well, it's as good an example as any. It was last week on the NQ. I think I still got it mapped out. Yeah, right there. So price was coming up and it hit an alert. Triggered once, got back below the trigger, triggered twice, got back below the trigger, triggered thrice, got back below the trigger, just by a couple ticks. Triggered a fourth time, which led into the next alert, which triggered once, twice, 3 times, pulled back into another alert, and it took off for thousands and thousands of dollars from there. But we see that play out over and over and over in every market. So when you're trading an alert, if you get a good trigger on that alert, chances are it's going to come back and trigger again. Just like right here, this was a sell alert. What did price do? It went down 1,600 bucks, came right back up just far enough to get above the trigger, and down it went again for a lot more than 1,600 bucks per contract. And all you got to do is stay in the trade. Watch. No fear. You're in this move. It's falling like a rock. How do you stay in? How do you not get nerved out of your position? Simple. You wait for the black step line to cross the red CFMA1, and because it's a red CFMA1, the first green candle that closes above the step line, you look at that price, 68.73, boom, that's your exit. It printed right there, clear as day, as it does. Did you catch the bottom? Nope. We don't even try to catch the, we don't try to sell the top, buy the bottom, any of that stuff. We don't try to milk every last tick out of a trade. We take what the market offers us. When we see money lying in the corner, we pick it up. If it doesn't look like money lying in the corner, we don't want anything to do with it. I know that sounds simple, but hey, here's the deal. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Now, that's a true story. I want to thank all of you for coming out today. I'll be at Telegram later, so if you need something, if you need my help with anything, whatever I can do to make your day better, that's why I'm here, right? Seriously. All right, I'll put up a nice video. Watch this video, okay? If you haven't seen this, the Marcus Aurelius video, watch this. I think you'll like it. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Have a great weekend.
Marcus Aurelius once said, "It's not death that we should fear never beginning to live." When we die, our lifeline does this. When we're alive, our lifeline does this. Notice how that connects with our real experience of life. Life is full of ups and downs. It means you're alive. Twists and turns. Love and loss. Happiness and sadness. Success and failure. We experience extreme highs, peaks and summits, and at the same time experience the troughs, the lows, and submit. Life is kind of like one big crazy roller coaster. It starts slowly, fills you with anticipation and curiosity, takes you up, and then sends you flying down, only to rise up quickly again. We laugh until it hurts. We cry inside a little. Experience a few moments where we wanted to stop and hope it's all over, but it just keeps going. We somehow think that success is linear, an upward line. There is literally no case study for that. Everyone we admire has ups and downs. Your body mostly replaces itself every 7 to 15 years. The organs that work the hardest have the fastest changeover. You get a whole new skin every 2 to 4 weeks. Your red blood cells last less than half a year. And your liver renews itself at least once every couple of years. The universe is always changing. We are always changing. But we want to remain the same. We settle for security, not recognizing that a flat lifeline means we're dead. Real life is ups and downs. Death looks like this. Every time I see that, I remind myself, this is living, this isn't. In the journey of life, we pass pleasure and pain. There will be sunshine and rain. There will be loss and gain. But we must learn to move forward again and again. Don't judge the moment. Don't try to hang on because it will keep pushing you forward. And remember, this morning, if you're healthy, you're happier than the 1 million people that will not survive this week. If there's food in your fridge, shoes on your feet, clothes on your body, a bed to sleep on, and a roof over your head, you're richer than 75% of people in the world. And if you have a bank account, money in your wallet or a purse, or coins in a jar, you're in the top 8% of the world's wealthiest. We cannot avoid the ups and downs, but we can change the way we see them. Because as Wayne Dyer said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.